know that many lawyers and members of parliamentarians, including yourself, always ask for the perpetrators of this appalling crime to be brought to justice. Can you please tell us more about this?
It can be very difficult to bring a court case in relation to killings which occurred around a quarter of a century ago. However, it does happen, and it has happened successfully around the world. One way of doing this is to look at setting up an international tribunal. So that would be an independent tribunal. There would have to be sufficient mechanisms in place to protect witnesses. Evidence would be gathered, it would be examined, and the tribunal would have powers to make recommendations. And those recommendations would include recommendations of investigations and prosecutions to be carried out then within the state. It also has the powers to make recommendations so that such massacres as occurred in Iran in 1988 they should not happen again. I'm saying that they would not happen again, but of course I know we're going to come on to this. We've just seen a complete spike in state killings in recent years. So that's one thing that can be done in relation to the appalling killings that occurred in 1988. The second thing that can be done with international law is that the Security Council can refer Iran to the International Criminal Court for investigation for crimes against humanity, looking at that period. However, it would need for a resolution to be passed through the Security Council, and one of the difficulties there is that the resolution can be quite easily vetoed. The Security Council gets paralysed with politics between the different states, and we can see that that's happened only recently in relation to Syria, where the Security Council tried to pass a resolution to refer to the ICC for investigations into crimes against humanity in Syria, and that resolution was vetoed by 3 states. So the Security Council in a lot of situations such as this quite simply lacks any teeth.
Okay, thank you very much. I'm sure you've heard about the mass execution last Monday morning, this week, last Monday. What do you think the British government and the humanitarian organisation can do about this, please?
The executions that were carried out of the 28 people was appalling. The death penalty should not operate in civilised countries. And Iran, obviously, ironically, is a country which boasts of its culture and civilization, and yet it has this very dark underbelly to it, where the state is carrying out mass killings. And they are mass killings because we've seen, for example, in 2015, that the executions there actually are the highest number for some 2 decades in Iran. Some 2,500 executions have been carried out since 2013. The figures are absolutely staggering, and no attempts to give it any legal dressing really wash at all internationally. These are state killings, they are not justified, and they should stop. So one thing that the international community can do is perhaps do things like this, speak out. Politicians should be very forceful in terms of diplomacy, and they should be very forceful on the international stage in condemning this, because a clear message needs to be sent to Iran for Iran to listen and for these executions to stop. The other aspect which is deeply concerning in relation to the executions in Iran is also the way the families are treated. There's an added layer of cruelty that can be seen, and it's very strongly evidenced. For example, with the 28 who were hanged recently, their families were notified that they would be able to see their loved ones. They travelled to the prison for the appointed time, and then they were told very cruelly that they were simply too late. It really is barbaric behaviour by the state.
Okay, thanks very much. As the prominent president of the Bar Human Rights Committee, what other actions will you be able to take to bring the perpetrators of these appalling crimes to justice, please?
In relation to what the Bar Human Rights Committee does, we regularly write statements of concern about the human rights violations in Iran, and will continue to do so. It would be great if we didn't have to do that, because more and more the statements of concern that we are writing are in relation to these executions that are being carried out. It's particularly ironic because there was a period of hope when Rouhani was elected, because he came in really with a slight human rights mandate to his election. And so it really is just horrific that we're in this situation where the executions have not decreased, they've not stopped, and in fact they have increased. The other thing that Bar Human Rights Committee does is it links with parliamentarians around the world. So it does assist with political lobbying. And of course, where there is evidence, we are experts in international law. And where there is evidence, we do intervene in cases. We assist in litigation. And we appear before the courts and the tribunals internationally. And it might be in this case, if there is evidence that can be brought, that really it is time that there is more of a hard-edged consideration of a legal remedy if the diplomatic pressures continue to fail as they appear to be doing at present.